Okay, we are live.
Okay, so the first reason why are we talking about those small recommendations and basic recommendations on how to communicate and what to consider when we are talking with a blind person is because of the dignity and of the rights in the end. Because person's dignity, do we like it, don't we like it, but the reality is that it largely depends on how this person is perceived outside, how he is treated also by the community around him. So so that determines, and this is why we're discussing this, is to show how to communicate on an equal basis with and ensure everybody's dignity and everybody's that everybody's happy. And the reason why I'm saying it's not written in stone, because in the end everybody is unique, and some people with disability, some blind people, because here we're going to be talking about visual impairment mainly, I would say exclusively, because that's what we probably have the most experience in, more or less, but also due to the limited time. But it depends on like what to do and what not to do for that person to feel comfortable, and for us and for the accompanier as well. And also, as I said, it depends on the person, because for some blind persons something might be acceptable, for others it might not be. But those rules are kind of common sense, common ground. Some people are more sensible, some are less, but this is why it's very important to just ask the person questions and be open. And, well, I mean, if there's no openness on the other side, which sometimes happens also, nobody's ideal, neither blind people are. So, but I mean, then there's not much to do. But then we can remember that all of us were human beings and people, and it's hard to communicate with the blind person. It's as hard to communicate with the blind person in the end as with anybody else, because there are different specificities when we talk about and talk with different people anyways. So if somebody's not open, whatever, it happens with sighted people, non-disabled people as well, that they're not open. When we talk about dignity, what does that mean? It means a lot of times to be treated like everybody else, to be perceived, like equal. And it also sometimes means not to be treated like special, When I'm walking on the street personally, I don't want everybody on the street to know that I am blind. And some people can guide you in a way that everybody will know that there's something wrong with you. Maybe we should demonstrate. Nika, can you get up for
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes, come here.
People,
Hopefully you don't mind. Sometimes people take
do like this. And when we go we're like, oh man, what's going on there?
So basically they are trying to carry you. Also we want to be, I think you can sit. We also can be and want to be like everybody else. So if everybody else is doing something or not doing something, we want to be at least aware. Things like that. Let's start with the first thing, and that is the general recommendations, and that is when you, first thing, personal space. Just follow your usual pattern and try to follow the personal space that you would allow for a sighted person in the same position. So how do we behave with the personal space? When it's our friend, we maybe come closer. When it's not our friend, we don't come too close. And the same with the blind person. So don't stay too far or too close away. Also with the loud talking, yes. The fact that we're blind does not necessarily mean that we're deaf. So it's normal to talk in a normal voice, not too loud, not too quiet, and not particularly, trying to spell everything out. Just talk normally.
And all locations as well.
Yeah, exactly. Also, when a person is with an accompanying person, please talk to the blind person, not to someone who is accompanying him on his behalf. It often happens, for example, when people start talking about me to my mother when we're walking, and it does not mean that you cannot say hi and you cannot greet the accompanying person. But if you really want to know something about the blind, ask him or her. Also, with respectful words, and in Georgian it makes more sense. So treat the blind person as you would treat a sighted person of the same age and same position and same relationship to you. So if you would normally address this person by kalbat ono, bat ono, de, Tbilisi, I don't know, shent, kwen, use the same to the blind. Don't be too respectful. Like, I have situations when, I don't know, my professors would tell me kalbat ono, or like not knowing what else to do. Or just with that. Also, try not to leave the blind person in completely empty space, because then if the person needs to move, he needs to orient himself or herself from something. Like, we need landmarks, what to follow, and like where to make turns, and we need to know where exactly like we are. Also, when you greet a blind person, so that's when greeting, say your name and maybe how do you know him or her, because we might not know and recognize you immediately by the voice, and it actually causes a lot of awkwardness, because like for me sometimes they say, oh hi Isma, how are you doing? I'm good, but I don't know who that is, and conversation dies because I don't know who that is, and I cannot ask anything relevant to the person in particular. Oh, and also from the last slide about the clothing and how we're dressed. So if you see that a blind person has something dirty on the clothes, on the face, or somewhere, it's normal to tell him or her. Like, confidentially, should not be, in front of everybody so that everybody hears. But we do also want to be, to look normally and appropriately in a society, community. Also, if there's like a working group, and something is going on, like people are standing a certain way or turning a certain way, or I don't know, maybe they put their right hand on their heart or something, it's good to also explain this to the blind person, and if necessary, maybe ask if he or she needs help to stand or do whatever, because again, we don't want to feel awkward and everybody is doing something and we just stand there somewhere in the corner. Also, please introduce everybody who is with you together, because sometimes a blind person can guess that there are more than one people with you, but sometimes it's not possible to guess, and there might be some confusion. So like, if there are two of you and you are just talking to the blind person, but the other one is silent, just introduce the silent person as well. Very important. When, again, in the big group, address person by name, blind person. When talking to him, address him by name, so that he or she knows who are you talking to. Sometimes in the street, maybe if you don't know the name, it's also okay to maybe touch on the shoulder, just like this. It's okay. When offering help, first of all, it's very important to offer help before actually doing something. And we saw this in the video as well, that, sometimes people think that they're helping, but they're really not. So the safest way always is to come and ask if the person needs help, and if he or she does, then tell, ask what kind of help is needed. When doing like a sighted guide, when guiding a person, it's better to let him hold your elbow Maybe you should show this.
Yeah, sure. For example, if I'm guiding Esma, for instance,
Yeah.
I can say like, you know,
If he's guiding
do you need help? Like, do you want to take my arm?
Yeah.
And then, you know,
this.
I'm touching the hand and, you know, showing my arm,
Yeah.
and then we just go.
Yeah.
And while walking, like, don't make, you know, like it's a step up or step down, you know, the person feels by him or herself, because when we are moving, the body lifts up or comes down, so
when the blind person is one step behind, even if you don't warn, which sometimes you might forget to warn, it's good. No, it's actually good to warn if there is step back, a step up, or step down. This is something it's good to say. But even if you don't say it, if he's behind, he will feel that like body goes up or down. If the blind person is up front, he won't feel this, and believe me, you will not be able to catch him. Like, I personally have tripped like this, and like I have fallen like this many times. But yeah, when you is holding on your elbow, it's not necessary to mention if you're taking left or right. Well, that's something we can guess. But when there are any barriers, it's important to say, you know, that there, I don't know, step up, step down, stairs up, stairs down, or I don't know, anything, maybe there's a narrow space or something. It's also good to slow down before big barriers.
That's right.
Yeah, and then like I can know that there's something.
But it's also good to ask like for preference, because some people don't like it. For example, myself, I don't like, for example, when it's, you know, when the person is saying step up, step down, because I can feel it. And but for example, slowing down is very useful, because I can then know what's going on. It might be step up or step down, and then I'm more concentrated on body, like guiding body. What will he or she do? And then I'm gonna do the same. So yeah, it's better to always ask the blind people. Do they prefer you saying step or something or not?
Yeah. Also, like you can. Well, that's for another topic. But don't go to the stairs like diagonally. Always come to them directly, because when you try to shortcut and we're going down the stairs, I kind of, you know, I assume that if one step is this long, then another one is going to be that long. But when you go not like directly, but when you go like this, I'll just show the laptop. I can't feel, you know, I cannot estimate how big the step is, and this also might not be super, and especially when you don't know the blind person pretty well in the beginning, and you don't know his or her preferences and individual, I don't know, whatever, and when you want to be fast, yeah, that's not a good idea. Also with the chair, when offering a chair, the good thing is if you let the blind person touch it's like this, or the hand, like the handles or the back, or if there's no back and the handles, maybe you can let the person touch with his foot to touch the feet of the chair or whatever it's called. Yeah. Also, never push somebody to a chair. It's not a good idea, because the person might just fall. When somebody is sitting into the car, the good way is to put the blind person's hand on the handle and tell where is the back and the front of the car, and then the person will probably able to open the door and get into the car. Yeah, normally. When you explain directions, let's say the blind person is using cane, or just asking you, don't say here, there, don't put point fingers, hands. Happens a lot. Yeah, just say left, right, forward, like in the back, up front, I don't know, up or down. Also, it's possible to use clock direction. So like the cup of tea is 3 o'clock, or something like the salad is 12 o'clock, or just like that. When the person is walking with a cane and does not want to use sighted guide, follow the person behind. Why? First of all, because you don't want to get hit with the cane. And second of all, because for the person it's going to be easier, he will walk the pace he can and he wants to, and you can easily follow up. But when you are walking in front of him or her, then this person will have to constantly think about how fast are you walking so that he or she would not hit you or would not stay too behind. So just that. Yeah. Nika, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
when you
never-
say, yeah, when you want to leave, so you are talking to the person and you want to leave, please warn the person, because a lot of times what happens is this blind person is talking, and suddenly recognizing that there is nobody there anymore. Yeah, so just please let him or her know that, okay, I have to leave, and yeah, then leave.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to add that if you see person not with a cane but with a guide dog, never ever try to pet the guide dog without the permission, because at that point of time the guide dog is working and the dog might be distracted, and then blind person needs more energy and effort to get him or her get the dog on track. So, and dog also might be attracted to person who petted him or her. So that's it. It's a good idea to not to touch guide dog or another device, assistive device, which a blind person is using without their consent.
Yeah.
Question, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
about the guide dogs. Do we have them in Georgia? Is it available for a blind person to get a guide dog in Georgia?
They just now started a small pilot. Actually, Stas is coordinating the situation.
Really?
Yeah. So I think he also has the dog right now, but the dogs need to be trained. The problem is that they are very expensive to maintain. The food, the vaccination, yeah, they're pretty expensive. So if the government does not fund this somehow, it's not a great idea. In general, there's a lot of controversy around guide dogs, because there are many also assistive devices and applications that can help you move around, especially in the countries where the maps are accurate. It's working pretty well overall. So I think Nika is gonna talk a bit about some of those kind of applications. But before that, to finish up with the blind etiquette, again, it's not so much about the rules, and you might not remember all of them now, because it's a lot about practice, about openness, and just think about how would you like to be treated and how you would not like to be treated, and try to communicate with the person with kind of this in the mind. And otherwise, yeah, just like they said in the video, nobody's gonna bite, so yeah, but it's just important to think about things that blind people want to be also part of the society, want to be like everybody. They don't want to be special and always up front and oh look, I'm with the blind person and taking him around, like look how I'm doing this. Yeah.
I don't think that we're holy, because sometimes people think that we're holy and we're ideal. None of us is ideal, something like this. So just be open, and the best way to learn more about this topic is blind person itself or people with disabilities. Do not hesitate to ask if you don't know something, and if you don't know how to help or what to do, just ask, and the person is going to explain and tell what works for them.
Yeah, but with the holiness, just tell me about the corruption that goes on in disability. Yes, so no, we're not.
Topic,
It's not. No, but we're not. But we're not all super kind and like angels on the earth, and
Yeah, they're good and bad.
Okay.
Continue with more.